Okay, so remember yesterday, I came out here and we had the kitty corner, the two police cars, right? The two police cars and the two Jeeps. So notice now where the two Jeeps are, there are two, a white and a gray Lexus, right? And well, I didn't get video. I have photos of three of these Acura Integras together. Newer tactic of theirs is to use cars in twos and reds together like this. And notice one, the guy even took off his plate. And also, there is a black, red, and white Mini Cooper. And the other day, there was the identical one of those across here as well. So there's actually three red cars in a group, and they do this all around the blocks, or wherever I go. So if I go out to Chatsworth or something, people will show up in that local city doing it wherever I am. The other guy moved his other Mini Cooper, but I do have pictures of it from the other day. So you'll notice right by these two red cars, one in front of the other, we have two, looks like two Toyota Corollas, at least two Toyotas, but look how they put these two Toyotas together. And the guy in the red car, see, the guy in the red car is now leaving, and so we had those two red cars, and now across from the two red cars, the two Toyotas, which look like Toyota Corollas together, and then the Mini Cooper, which the other Mini Cooper, he left yesterday, but I'm sure he'll be back. And there's actually a third one, identical car, Mini Cooper, like this, which usually parks on the other side or at the park over there to send me hidden messages. Okay, and also, while this one is harder to prove, they also do this a lot. You'll notice that there are two gray Mercedes, and this is a lot harder to prove, or to know if this is actually intentional or just coincidence. But what they do is a lot of times they pull out cars in twos, but they can't get them right in front of each other like those other cars. So you'll see that there's this gray Mercedes 350, and then up here there is a gray SUV Mercedes. And a lot of times you'll notice that the street will just have two cars, sometimes spread like that, but always in twos, right? Or sometimes more, but you can see the pattern changing if, for example, like whenever I go out to take a walk, maybe there's like two people, there's a guy with a red Ford Focus and a blue Ford Focus, and so they'll just keep like every day, they'll move around together, right, for years. So you know, if for years those two cars alone are together, sometimes they're not one in front of the other, sometimes they're spread a little, but always groups of twos from the Met Complex over here. And then, like I said, if I go whatever to Las Vegas or something, it'll start happening there. So here's the second Mercedes, right? And you know, tomorrow it could be two yellow, who knows, yellow Ford Focuses or something, right? Okay, so I'm leaving my house, and I want you to notice on the other side of my complex, once again, there are two red cars parked, one across from each other, which most people wouldn't pick up on if they weren't looking for it, although this is pretty much worldwide against me. But I want you to also notice, remember, you just saw the two red cars together over there on this side of the street, on this other side of the street, but now see how we also have two red cars together there as well. Okay, I'm now at the park. I want you to notice, for example, right here we have two Jeep Cherokees as close as can be together, and back here, which I'm driving, you can't really see, we have another Jeep, kind of getting them as close as they can together. Usually this street at the park here is extremely filled with things like cars in twos and things like this, because they don't want me going out, taking walks, relaxing in a park with all sorts of death threats all across the world. No relaxing for you, nigger, and things like that. And here's another one directly related to kissing the black girl at 8 years old, as if anyone would actually could care less normally. Another one of their tactics is actually pulling up tons of cars with no plates, or this keys plates. And you'll notice there's one car on this side and one car on that side so far I've spotted with plates. A lot of times they do twos, patterns of twos on the other side. Today it looks fairly mellow. Like usually there's a lot more of identical cars or the mimic, whatever the pattern tactic. And usually over here there's tons of Jeep Cherokees right around here. Today, I don't really see any. Today actually is the most mellow I've seen it in years, to tell you the truth. There's another Jeep Cherokee right there. But today is very mellow. It's usually way worse. And here's another one, another car without a plate, Longo plate, or a plate cover. And other than that, it's pretty, you know, it's cleared up a lot. That could change later on though. Okay, so you'll notice I've only done about one lap, a couple laps probably around the park, just videoing. And I noticed, I don't think he was here before, but I noticed another car pulled up with no plates on. It looks like he took his plate off, actually. And he's right there, he is. So right here we have this car, right? He just looks like he took his plate off all the way. Probably didn't have time to go out and grab a plate cover, right? It looks like it's a dealer car or some random plate cover, which, by the way, the police are telling him to do it. That's the freaky part. So I'm gonna go, I'm on my way to the post office, and we'll see. Usually, you know, I'll go run an errand or something, come back in 10 minutes, and, for example, the park will be completely filled up with, or you'll see large groups of people showing up with more and more cars. So we'll see in about, 10 minutes, maybe a half an hour, I'm not sure, but when I come back the other way. Okay, so I just arrived at the post office, The first thing you'll probably notice is there's 2 cars backwards close to the entrance. Surprisingly, everyone's forward right now. Usually there's a lot more backwards, and a lot of times you'll notice that these parking lots all over the world now, there's groups of cars in 2s and 3s backwards and things like that. So for example, I'm coming around the other side here, and you notice all these cars are forward, right? But right here we have 2 backwards, right? So everything's forward and there's 2 backwards here, and then there's this Camry here which is backwards with this van which is backwards, right? So they're grouping in 2s, and not only that, you'll notice right here, we got the same car, right? So where these cars are parked backwards, okay, and also, see these cars right here, both don't have plates, license plates, right? They have dealer plates. So where's this guy? I wanted to point him out. So first we have these 2 cars, no plates, and the rest of the lot, most of it, is pretty much forward. Now we actually have 3 of these things, an i3. You see these BMW i3s? We have 3 of these right here. So I'm gonna park and go into the post office, and I'll get a close-up shot of those. And this is just today, simply going to the post office. Now also, most of these cars without plates, you'll on the video you'll notice there is an extremely high number of cars without license plates, which appear to be dealer plates, but what they do is they put dealer plates on their cars and just leave them on like that, on the cars like that forever, and the police tell them to, and the police have no problem with this. They're only concerned about Kevin Perlman, and if he blinks wrong, me, Kevin Perlman. So anyways, let me get some, I'm gonna go walk over to the post office, and I'll get some close-ups of these cars. Okay, so here's the first BMW i3, and then I noticed right here there are 2 more. I do not think these are work vehicles for anything around here. But not only that, you'll notice the 2 i3s are parked by the grouped together Infiniti here with an i3, right? So just these coincidences in pairs of 2s over and over all day and night. We also have a guy, if it picked it up on camera, just honked his horn, like his alarm horn, twice, directed at me. One of their provoking tactics. So here's a West Covina auto plate. Here is a Tesla with no plate. Usually the lots have a lot more cars without plates. And like I said, today is pretty mellow compared to what it's usually like. I think that might be the same car, the Mercedes there with no plates. And then we have the 2 cars right by the entrance here, backwards, and everything else is forwards. Showing their patterns of 2s. So, for example, one guy will park backwards, another guy will come in, and he'll say, okay, that guy parked backwards, so I'm going to park next to him backwards. Why are they doing it is the big question. Well, they're doing it to, it's all directed at me citywide or statewide and now worldwide. So if I go... Okay, so I'm coming back out the post office, and The first thing I notice is another truck with keys, license plate, dealer plate cover. Other than that, usually it's way worse. I mean, this is like nothing. But so another car without a plate, which isn't the biggest of deals, although he's kind of sitting in the car with it on, right? So why is the guy just sitting in the car with it on? And what they do is they follow me from place to place in mass groups. So they're notified where I am and they all follow me. Oh, here we go. So also back here, we got another car with a Rusnik plate, right? And two cars backwards in pairs, right? So, right, why are they all pairs? Unless I got those ones earlier, I'm not sure. So we have this pair over here. We have this pair over here. We have another Mini Cooper that showed up backwards. But this pair, right? So these ones are more obvious because they're in pairs. We have that pair over there. And I think another car without, oh wait, okay, so we have this car with this Paradise, no plate, right? Paradise Ventura. And then this Encino, Mercedes with an Encino plate. Oh, I already got those guys. And that's it. So not much going on directed at me today. But you can see the amount of weird things going on. And then this Mercedes over here backwards as well, right? Now, that, even though today isn't like it usually is, you would still normally say that that is a extremely high number of cars normally without plates, and the more obvious ones of the cars in pairs backwards. Okay, so it's been about 30 or 40 minutes. I'm coming back to the park. The amount of cars that usually show up are a lot less today, but you'll notice a pattern here. There are two people waiting in gray cars with the lights on. It's raining, so obviously the lights are going to be on, but there are two people kind of, not really kitty corner, but on what is that, like adjacent, on separate sides, waiting and lights on with their two patterns, and then another car with a Keys license plate parked his car. And we have two pickup trucks here, which they park usually like four of these white pickup trucks together, which is very, like I said, mellow. Like usually I'll come back like 30 minutes later. On the way back, there'll be like 10 cars. Oh, and a guy waiting, and a white pickup there, right? But I'll come back and there'll be like 10 cars with no plates waiting for me, and a lot more identical or the same model cars, right? So we'll come around the block here, and there should be this other guy, unless he left, with the car, with no plates, right, or the keys, right? So let's see, where is he? Okay, so here's the other gray car waiting with lights on for me, and then in front of him, look in front of him, it's a this is a Corolla, and in front of him, and it's a girl, and in front of him is this Keys car, or this car, this Audi with a Keys plate cover, right? So once again in twos, right? So if we come back around here, now she might No, she hasn't texted him or anything, telling him to leave that I'm videoing or anything. And you can also see here, there's another Jeep Cherokee. Oh, he's leaving now. See, I'm coming back around, and now he's leaving. Right? And we can see what happens when we come back around. The white pickup looks like he's gone, and maybe he was just a random guy leaving. It's hard to tell sometimes. Or wait, or is he? Let's see. His lights were on before. It's hard to say. Maybe he was just parking. Looks like it might have been someone just parking at the pickup. But the other two, the pattern of twos, tactics, and the license plate frame. Or the no license plate tactic. Okay, so I'm about to pull into the Starbucks where a lady hit me and or slapped me because she didn't want me telling anyone about my life and the corrupt police officers involved. And ironically, there is a Persian. The Persians here are friends with the LAPD, and so the LAPD. I first notice all the cars without plates in here. Right now, there's 2 cars with no plates. The Persian guys here are friends. The owners of the gas station are friends with the corrupt people in the Topanga Division LAPD. The Starbucks here, like every coffee shop worldwide, says I'm not allowed. Okay, look, we have 2 Civics at this Starbucks together. And the Starbucks here doesn't want me here, as well as any coffee shop worldwide. And so, the police are working with this coffee shop and every coffee shop pretty much worldwide to exterminate me. So anyways, we have right here, we have 2 Civics together and 2 cars with no plates. Now that is normally a lot worse in that parking lot, especially after I show up. But still, 2 cars with, or the point I'm making is that there are a lot of cars, a unusual rate of cars without plates on them, right? And in pairs of 2s, right? So now you've seen me simply leave my house to go to the post office, and you've seen how many cars there are in, or patterns of pairs of 2s or whatever. The same cars parked in 2s, cars without plates, a lot lower rate of people following me, although I haven't really stuck around. The longer I'm at a location, the more people will show up doing these things at a higher rate, like an exponential rate. So now I'm gonna go to Fluky's and get some food, and we will see what happens in that parking lot. Okay, so I'm simply going to drive through the parking lot and kind of inventory what's normal and what's not, so that when I leave, or the amount of time I exert here, you know, the progression or the rate of change. So for example, right here we have a car with no plates, once again dealer plates, and we have a car backwards. Now all these cars back here are normal, parked normal, except if you tried to park it backwards here, it'd be a nightmare, it looks like. Okay, we have another car with a Magic Auto plate. And this guy's also, his white pickup is parked backwards, right? Now, first of all, think about the energy it would take to probably park in that spot backwards, right? In that tiny little driveway, right? So he's doing it for a reason. Now wait, now we have a pickup here with a Universal plate, right? Universal City plate. Why are there so many cars without plates, right? Now also, we have a Honda here that has a #1 price, no plate on his car. And what else do we have? That's kind of it for now. So we'll see what happens when I leave. Usually people show up as I'm eating, wherever I go worldwide. And so, well, things look like they've sort of slowed down. I can't tell you. I might be here for 30 minutes and you might see about 10 cars show up. Identical cars or cars without plates and twos. Things like that. Obviously directed at me because if everything is being done, if everyone's conspiring and I'm the guy out of the loop, obviously it's directed at me, right? Especially the level of things done to me, like people mimicking all my conversations back to me and things like that. So let's go. I'm gonna go get some food and we'll see what happens when I leave. Okay, so I'm leaving Fluky's. You'll notice a Mazda or a whatever that is. Car showed up with no plates, guy waiting in it, engine running. There are several other things going on which are a lot more difficult to prove. For example, this guy showed up right after in this black Jeep, which is, they do a lot of things with these black Jeep Cherokees, or with Jeep Cherokees, as I was explaining. This guy didn't really interact and wasn't very provable. For example, this spot here, a gray Ford Focus pulled in and turned on his blinkers, and then sat there for a couple minutes, left, and then this guy pulled up in the gray Altima. And then there was some interaction with the employees and some people coming in with cryptic type messages. Or for example, the waiter didn't want to get, or the server didn't want to give me the food. He sat there while other people came in, not giving me the food, trying to provoke me into situations. But other than that, as far as the cars go, fairly mellow. Okay, so I'm gonna simply just do a once around on the parking lot and see if anything, you know, who pulled up, if there's any of the car patterns. If not, good. And okay, so I've left Fluky's and I'm gonna just once again do a quick drive through of this gas station and see you know, if they pulled up some more cars for me, to send me hidden messages, and then I'll drive by the park once again, and that's it, and then go home. And so you will get an idea of what a simple, running a simple errand is like for me with these mental illness tactics. No. Jeep Cherokee. Actually, the gas station looks fairly normal. There is a black Jeep Cherokee, but by the laundromat, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And then some guy here, half asleep in a 4Runner, but you know, that doesn't, there's no patterns or freaky things going on with that. And also, just pulling up, there's another Jeep Cherokee, a white one, which, once again, they're not together, so it's hard to say, you know, if something is going on. Okay, we actually have a guy here waiting in their car with no plates and the hood on for me. Okay, so I'm driving through Okay, here is our guy with no plates, waiting with his lights on for me to come home. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick stop in the TGIF parking lot, just like a random drive-through to see what's going on, but take a look. Right here we have two red cars together in the red car tactic, like the pairs of red cars. We have a red backwards Civic and a red backwards pickup, but everyone's now parking backwards worldwide, so they're trying to mask what they're doing. So once we see the pairs, there's another red car backwards, right? So when you see the cars like that, it's hard to really, it looks like it's normal, but it's not, right? Now let's look over here. We got, aside from kind of groupings of red and blacks, this is where things get obvious. Okay, we have over here two white similar pickup trucks in pairs, backwards and together, right? And this guy doesn't even have plates on, right? And oh, one's gray and one's white, both Rams. There's also kind of a group of black pickups, but they're not backwards. So now we're gonna go drive through the park and back home, and most likely they've ramped up cars at the park directed at me. But here, once again, we have a Jeep Cherokee, probably directed at me. Here's our two red cars together, just like you saw right around my house. But now we're on Khalifa, right, and Canoga, showing that even if I leave my house, they're ramping their attacks wherever I go, worldwide, saying you're a violent paranoid schizo, and we want to lock you away in jail cells and mental institutions, just like my brother threatened my life at 16 years old, that he and his friends are going to put me in a mental institution for stopping him from bashing Greg Waz's skull in with a crowbar. Okay, now at the park, you'll notice there's more people waiting in cars with lights on, right? And let's see if there's more plates. Okay, so we got now, remember we drove through here, we first drove through here, nobody was waiting with lights on, right? Then the second time we came through here, two people were waiting with lights on. And the third time, I see three people waiting with lights on, but they haven't ramped up the cars and twos and things like that, the more obvious things. So I'm coming back home, and let's see if they've had some people bring out cars in their pattern tactic. Oddly enough, things look fairly normal, which is strange because they never stop and they never leave me alone with worldwide support. But right now, cars seem to be parked more random, like how people normally park cars, right? There's just random cars, there's no groupings. Which is strange because I rarely see that around here or wherever I go for a significant period of time. We have another car, Scott Robertson, no plates. That's the only thing I really see. And let's check the other street on the other side. We have our, here's the fake police car guy, and two more reds together, which I showed you earlier. Usually there's a group of trucks here by this yellow Dodge. Today there's not. It's a lot less aggressive than usual. Now notice this spot right here, there's 2 cars only in this entire guest parking, and they usually do things like park them backwards in 2s and things like that. Today they're parking them forwards in 2s, which kind of looks normal, but most likely not. But still things to try to turn me into a violent paranoid schizo. And if you look at my other car, oh, we have another car here with no plate. And if you look at by my other car, because you can see the signs on it, someone parked a blue Explorer in front of my car, trying to make it look like there's 2 GMCs, right? For example, mine's a GMC Envoy, his is a Ford Explorer, but he wanted to sort of get two SUVs together. Who knows why? Maybe trying to say, look what Kevin's doing, right? Trying to turn it around on me. And if we, let's see, if we drive a little down here, you'll see 2 Jeep Cherokees together, and normally there's a lot more than 2, but they've ramped that down. So here's 1 Jeep Cherokee, and then, oh, they moved them. Odd. There's usually, yesterday there were 2 right here. Okay, so I'm gonna stop by the gym I used to go to, which I was run out of, and basically told I'm not allowed to go to any gym worldwide, which doesn't make any sense. And the reason I was run out of this gym, I have no clue. It was, according to my stepfather, I have OCD for going to the gym 4 times a week, which doesn't make any sense. So right here, we have a car with no plate. We got our backwards cars. We got another car with no plate. Can't really say these cars backwards or in 2s, but the number of cars backwards is completely unusual, even though they're doing it worldwide now to mask what they're doing. Here we go. We have the Audi backwards, and we have the Charger backwards, but more importantly, we got 2 pickups, red and white, one as close as they can get together, and then we got these backwards cars all grouped together in patterns, right? Now, why are all these cars forwards, right? I mean, not all of them, but okay, so right now, these 2, whatever. Okay, another thing you might notice is I'm walking back to my place and my property, and these people right here have 2 protected by bay alarm signs. And the first question is, why are those signs even there within the gated townhouse, right? As if people are lined up to break into that tiny little townhouse. And then the second question is, why are there two of them, right? Now, there's several reasons they're doing it. One has to do, I think, with a porn star named Raven Bay, who takes my private life and tries to mimic or takes aspects out of my life and puts it in all her little porn movies. But the other is the colors also match, like, for example, the red, white, and black Mini Coopers that they have following me around everywhere. And so you can see how they're just kind of trying to send me cryptic message after cryptic message based on color patterns or numbers like twos. So there's 2 bay alarm signs hinting about Raven Bay and Mini Coopers, and those same colored Mini Coopers were working with security companies all the way out in Long Beach, following me around, doing demented things. So you get the idea, and I think I have videos of that online out in Long Beach. Security companies following me all around the world, stalking me to try to create mental illness. Okay, so now I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna just do like my normal block walk and take a walk, which I usually do to try to get exercise. But these people have a problem with me leaving my house or breathing, for that matter. So I will kind of give you an idea of the car pattern tactics that go on. Simply trying to take a walk. So notice the first thing we see when we come out is 2 pickup trucks, a white one and a blue one, and they're twos, although there is one on the other corner, a yellow one, which has been there for like months, which groups of them park together, and so there's 3, but there's really 2. Or I should say 2 that changed, right? 2 that showed up at the same time, parking as close as they can to each other. Now, we're also going to walk by this black E-Lance, which most of the time there's a white E-Lance that parks on the street too, in their patterns of 2s, and in front of it is a red Focus, and there's another blue Focus which has been parking on this street for years, right, in 2. So 2 E-Lances, a black and white E-Lance and a red and blue Ford Focus, which I only see one today, but here he is. And then there's another guy that was getting pretty nasty with me with the identical black E-Lance, honking and yelling at me, that used to park where this guy's parking. And after he started showing who he was, his true colors, he now, I guess, parks it. Oh, this is a Corolla. This isn't the red Ford Focus. But so you can see the 2 pickup trucks now, right? So now the gate where I walk out, there are 1 pickup truck and 2 pickup trucks. And if you want to, let's see. Oh, that's a Camry. Okay. So let's see what else we have. I pointed out earlier here's my other car, And in front of it is a blue Explorer SUV, and as you can see, they try to get like as close to a model same car as mine. And of course, here in the garage we have a Kanye, it looks like Kayne 13, Kanye 13. Well, they're on their big 13 hints now, and now the guy in the blue pickup is leaving. And so they're doing this number pattern thing with 13s now, and like the judge is in room 113, and he sentenced me for on these false convictions. He for probation he put 52 weeks of like to go into a psychologist, which is 13 months, not 1 year. Okay, now look, remember the pattern of red cars together, right? So here we have two more red cars, just like I was pointing out earlier, of cars in twos, right? In their twos pattern. Now this is the yellow truck, which a lot of times there's another truck parked by him. Oh, and here is the other E-Lance, right? So this is the second E-Lance right here, or Elantra, not E-Lance, but Elantra, right here. So we got two Elantras. We have two red cars together, just like earlier today. And then see this Mercedes. There's always a second black Mercedes, and sometimes there's huge groups of Mercedes. Like sometimes there's like 4 black Mercedes all at the same time, right? Now remember, they show up at the same time, so it's not random events. So for example, maybe 4 months goes, there's no Mercedes on this short street, and then the next day there's 4 black Mercedes, right? All together. Now you're gonna notice probably whatever this company that makes the E-Lance or Elantra or whatever. Now there's probably gonna be a whole bunch of these cars. I can't tell you what they're doing today. And in the last week, they've also ramped up the Accords. So let's see. Right now, there's one Accord, and there's one Jeep Cherokee. And I mentioned earlier that the two Jeep Cherokees that are always up this way are now gone. And that for years switched between like 2 and 4 Jeep Cherokees, or more, but I have videos of 4, 6, 8, right? But right in this spot where we're coming to, for some reason they just park as many Jeep Cherokees from different people all together over and over to just try to gang stalk, create paranoid schizophrenia, or the effects what looks to be paranoid schizophrenia. And I don't know why they moved them today or yesterday, but okay. Now we got more cars with no plates, laundries, I don't know, some kind of hidden message with a Toyota Camry, and they used Camrys. And we also have 2 people waiting in cars. Now they used Toyota Camrys now look, this is one of the tactics here. You will notice that nobody's in the car, right? But yet, with this car here, the lights left on, although one of his tail lights is burned out. But the lights are on. Nobody's in it, which is a common tactic which I have archived of tons and tons of people around here doing, directed towards me. So you can see what's going on, right? Ooh. Okay, so whether this guy's just waiting around or not, who knows? Or he's actually just living his life, it's hard to say. But that Mercedes with the white Camry, I was going to say they use the Camrys because I like photography, and to try to create ideas of references, they send me references to try to make me look like a schizophrenic. Hence the reason, for example, if I go out to the beach and do a photo shoot, I'll come home and maybe there's like 10 Camrys together, right? To try to make it look like I'm a schizophrenic. So just so you can see the other side, this is also where the guy hired by the police, or paid off by the police, who attacked me with a police-trained canine in thugging operations, telling me to get lost and that I'm a snitch and he's gonna kill me, which I have about like 6 or 7 times on video, along with endless harassments from the guy. Right here you can see the car, the guy intentionally leaving the lights on in front of the Camry with the plate cover, the Wanderers or whatever. And trust me when I say I have archives of people intentionally leaving cars with lights on and no one in it directed at me. And keep in mind, earlier, as I mentioned today, the amount of cars you've seen on video with me just randomly once in a while pushing the record button with no plates on them, which the police are telling people to do, directed at me. Not concerned that people are driving around without plates. More concerned that Kevin Perlman's breathing, right? That's their concern. Is that Kevin Perlman is still alive, and they don't want me talking about what I know and has been done to my life. And so it is more important to have everyone breaking laws and turning them into vigilantes than stopping this mass crime against me, because stopping it shows that I'm the one who's innocent, and then shows that they're aiding and abetting 40-year crimes. So now we have a guy, which I can't tell you if he just pulled to the side of the road or was waiting with lights on, or it's just a random person in a car. Who knows? But we'll probably see a lot more things with cars in 2s or 4s or things like that. So when I see more, oh wait, so now remember earlier the 2 red cars. So now we have, and I have these on video which I showed you earlier, but now this is a wide angle lens, so it might be hard to see, but I was up close. We have the 2 red cars here, and then we have the 2 red cars kitty corner over here, right? So back to our patterns of 2s or patterns of 1s kitty corner, right? Now think of the energy it takes, the time and energy to get all these people to be told to do these things. So all directed at me. So what I know is extremely important, that they don't want me talking. But so here are 2 more pairs of reds, and then this way, which you can't see, it's around the corner, is the other 2 red cars together, right? And these are things that I endlessly try to get the police to come out in the early days, maybe like 15 years ago, and document to stop the crime, but they just didn't want me talking. Now we also have here the fake police car, or what used to be a police car at one time, and this guy started showing up right after I watched a movie with Denzel Washington. I can't remember what the movie was, where he is a cop that goes like into the future or something, or maybe back in time and saves a girl's life, and was driving that car, and the next day he started parking the car in front of my house for these schizo operations to create mental illness. Now also, once again, I can't see very well, but there is a car here with no plates. It looks like it's probably a gray, maybe an Infiniti, parked behind another gray car with no plates, right? So here's another car with no plates, right? And I'll get a close-up of him on the way back, but at one point, going down to Hollywood, they actually literally had the entire streets on Hollywood and Sunset, every few cars, no plates, all the way down to Sunset and Hollywood Boulevard directed at me, which is extremely irking if you don't know what's going on and it's directed at you. There must have been thousands of cars with no plates on directed at me. So now here on this corner they usually have their hidden messages. So let's see. Today we have a red Sentra and once again a Jeep Cherokee, but nothing in patterns. Most likely these cars are directed at me, but there's no patterns, so you can't really prove it. They do things with Altimas, so here's a gray Altima, but nothing together. These two white pickups here are usually together. Now today there's a car in between, and usually there's tons of 320 Mercedes on this street as well, which have kind of ramped down a little. So we have our two white pickups, right? Pickup truck, white pickup, directed at me. There used to be a lot more. There used to be like 10 white pickups or something, right? And here we go. Is this the second Altima? Here we go. Here's the second Altima, all right? So we got two white pickups and two Altimas, right? And now they're spread, so they're not obvious like they usually do it. But they are people being told, hey, anyone who has an Altima, park it on the street. So if Kevin goes out and takes a walk, try to turn him into a schizophrenic and get those reactions to lock him away in jail cells. Now we also have another, this guy usually parks with other orange cars. It's a orange Jeep Cherokee, and usually all the orange cars migrate around him all together, like as close as they possibly can. And so I'm just gonna go back, but trust me, usually this entire park is usually consumed with cars directed at me to create mental illness, and they'll make up this excuse that they're doing it because I'm a public nuisance and causing problems. But that's a complete cover-up. They've been doing it. I noticed them doing it at 29 years old with these worldwide groups. And they refuse to stop. They are angry. They don't want me talking about the things I know. And that is it. So now, this car right here, this Fit, notice he doesn't have a plate either, right? I mean, look at the number of cars without plates. Now, this car alone I've seen here for like 6 months, and there's no plate, right? I mean, when you buy a car, you get your plate within a month. Now, here we have the orange car that usually parks across from the orange Jeep Cherokee, but today he's parking away from it. You know, he probably just couldn't get a spot close to the Cherokee. My battery's about to die, so I'm gonna change batteries. Okay, so if you want a better view of the two pickups, which are usually parked right behind each other, you know, one in front of the other, there they are, in their twos tactic. I'm trying to get them as close as they can together, directed at me. Now also we have two Accords as close as they can get them, right? So here's a gray Honda Accord. Okay, and here's a blue Honda Accord. And, well, I'm not going to tell you that Honda Accords aren't popular cars. When you see the pattern change at the same time, for example, that's when things get obvious. Like, for example, maybe you take walks every day and you see a Honda Accord once in a while, and then the next day you see 15 Honda Accords, right? Then the next day they're all gone, right? That is not how things normally work in random events, meaning that people are being communicated to, or told to do these things with technology like email systems, SMS systems, internet-based notification systems, you name it, right? Okay, so another tactic of theirs is having people wait in cars with their lights on, hinting to me that we're watching you, basically. We're sitting in our cars, we're watching you. This guy over here with his lights on, I can't tell you if it's directed at me. And the two guys, one guy with blinkers and another guy just sitting in his car down the street with his lights on, I can't tell you are directed at me, but a lot of times they'll come out in mass groups, especially late at night, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just sitting in their cars waiting for me and signaling to me. And sometimes it's a little more obvious, like they'll do here's a guy that just didn't even care about me walking down the street, right? He just like, I'm gonna freaking plow you. So now you're gonna see two dog walkers here that came out at the same time, right? Now a lot of times they have huge groups, like 15, 20 dog walkers coming out all at the same time, directed at me. Now this, oh, see, we have a third one here coming up on my side, right here. Now you'll notice when I first started taking a walk that there were no dog walkers, right? And now tons of them are appearing. And they do this over and over, just to try to flip me into reactions. Usually the groups are a lot bigger and timed in such a way to try to provoke me. Now here we have a Integra, and yesterday, the day before, there was this car, another green one in front of him, and when I came home, there was a third one in front of that, showing what they're doing. And when I went to the Coffee Bean to get coffee, which I'm not allowed to go to any coffee shop worldwide, as well as restaurants, malls, any store, any place, or I will be hunted and stalked with every government resource known to man, just like we're seeing here. There was a guy in a gray Integra sleeping in his car and waiting for me, right? And, you know, they just go to where they think I'm going to go, and wait for me in mass citywide groups to try to create mental illness to torture, kill, or remove from society. So yesterday, or is that yesterday or the day before there were two of these black or Toyota or Lexus SUVs. I can't tell if that's one or not, but it looks like it might be. But there were two of these in pairs. Let's see, what else do we got? It looks like a red Altima, maybe. No, that's Yaris, whatever. Now it's about 8 o'clock, so there's going to be traffic from people coming home and things like that, which are going to make things a lot more difficult to pinpoint. We have more dog walkers, right? Now remember, when I first came out of my house, there were no dog walkers. And usually, once in a while, you see a dog walker, but like I said, for years when I would come out, you'd see 15 or 20 after I come out, right? All at the same time. Censure. Okay, and of course I'm not saying there's anything wrong with walking your dog, but when you're doing freaky things to try to send people hidden messages, you get the idea that they're not walking their dog because they want to walk their dog. They're walking their dogs because they want to make someone mentally ill, or make them look crazy with the police and government and psychology community. Well, that's premeditated motive to commit murder, basically, or crimes on that level, right? And so, it's not really if it's not really about walking your dog, you know, and it's about hurting, harming, maiming, and killing people, then I have a problem with that, especially when it's directed at me, right? Hi. Oh, French vegan?
What's that?
Oh, that's the truth. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I've already given you like a card.
Yeah,
I know you.
Right, yeah.
You guys are matching. Why is that? You're both wearing red and black.
Oh, yeah. Coincidence, man.
Okay, so you'll notice now this guy is sitting in his car. Now he could be waiting for someone, but we know he's not. I mean, okay, you got those guys, they're wearing the same clothing, you got a guy sitting in a car. Now, if you want to look this way, usually they park cars backwards and a lot more here, right? So you got a car here, and he's parked backwards. You don't want to go on there. And usually there's more to try to figure out ways to get me on their property, right? To passive aggressively provoke me to try to get me on their property. Here's another Integra, by the way, but he's not near that guy, so you could just say, well, that's just a random Integra. But what they try to do is they keep doing things on their properties to try to get me on their properties, to say, like, I broke into their property, or I'm trying to break into their property. A tactic that's been done to me my entire life for some strange reason. Okay, so look, we have this black Lexus, right? And now we have SUV, and we have this black Lexus SUV across from each other. Okay, two Lexus black SUVs across from each other. We have that guy waiting. We have the two black guys wearing black pants and red shirts. It's actually a fairly a mellow night tonight. It's not aggressive like it usually is. There's usually tons more. This is what I would say a very calm night of terror operations since 5 years old, directed at me to try to remove me from society. Right now, this looks like a Camry, and if you've seen my other videos, they had a gray Toyota Camry in this spot about 3 days ago, and they had another gray Toyota Camry, identical, kitty corner, over here, right? And so there's a black Toyota Camry where the gray one was. So you can see how what they're doing with mass worldwide groups, all directed at one person, is about creating mental illness to remove someone from society, right? Now keep in mind that this doesn't just happen here. This happens everywhere I go, and the longer I'm there, the more strangers citywide show up to create mental illness, showing that it doesn't matter where I live or go. And this also happens in different countries too, to give you an idea of the magnitude, right? Okay, so here's the gray Camry, which the other day there was a black Camry. Or there was a gray Camry where that black one was. Now, this person always sort of shows up with his fight on license plate, like at times like hinting like keep fighting, or we're gonna keep you fighting, right? That type of thing. Now, I did go to school in Southern Oregon State College in Ashland, Oregon, and that's probably why this guy pulls up his car with the Oregon plate, and you would say that's absurd or crazy, but it's really happening. Now here we go. This is a gray Infiniti with, once again, no plate, and in front of him is a gray Civic with no plate, right? So we got a gray Civic, no license plate, together with a gray Infiniti, no license plate, in their patterns of twos tactics, right? And trust me when I tell you that I've shown endless police, psychologists, you name it, these things, these photos, these videos, which they refuse to acknowledge is out of the norm, and any honest, sane, rational person is going to tell you that something is going on, whether it's directed, whether they're a third person witnessing the crime or they're the target like me. They're not going to tell you that nothing is going on and you're imagining it unless they want you dead or gone. What you're seeing is a mass conspiracy based on internet tools to torture and kill someone, which they started in on me at 5 years old, way before the internet but in 1994 decided that they had a whole new war way of exterminating people, the government, and me being the target because of whatever labels they threw on me at 5 years old. And some of those labels from my family are that I have nervous issues and I'm a violent paranoid schizo. So anyways, that is a simple walk. You'll notice I just wanted to take a simple walk. We have another dog walker now in black, looks like black and red, so we might now start seeing groups of people showing up with black pants and red shirts, which is one of their tactics. And cars that are red, obviously with black tires, that they're going to possibly ramp up their attacks, trying to create mental illness and collapse someone's brain, right? So anyways, I'm gonna stop this for now, and I might continue a little later. Okay, so now you're seeing even more dog walkers. It looks like a couple with dogs coming this way. So you notice that the amount of dog walkers attacks are ramping up to create mental illness. Aren't you guys?
Huh?
Oh, pardon? So now what I do is I pass out cards because these people will never stop. So what the cards do is they explain the situation going on. For example, there's mass groups stalking me, and they have to have a reason. They have to have been told something. So they deserve to know the truth and to stop the situation so that I can stay breathing. I pass out cards in self-defense so that there's a counter-argument to the worldwide propaganda. The problem is that the people in the government, 90% of them, don't want the truth coming out because it incriminates a lot of people in these mass murder operations. And they don't want that truth that for 40 years they've been trying to have me killed and or rid of the world or removed from society. And they don't want the truth that none of what they've been told is true. That I'm just being hunted to be killed in the name of we don't like you. The same reasons Adolf Hitler killed the Jews. And so that is what you are seeing, except you're seeing it with the United States government of America, local police divisions like Topanga LAPD, basically putting together what they call neighborhood watch groups, but they're really neighborhood extermination operations based on mass groups hunting down and killing someone. And what they're doing is they're shirking all responsibility because the police aren't actually breaking the law, because they're telling citizens that are stupid enough to believe everything they're told, that Kevin's on the run and he's done all these horrible things, so go after Kevin in the name of the law, making these citizens break the law and tell them they're allowed to do it, so the police aren't responsible for these murder operations. They just sit back telling other people to hunt me down and kill me, and they go, well, we didn't do anything. But if you go to the police to ask for help, they refuse to help me. Now, the question of why the police have been hunting me since 5 years old is the end-all, be-all of questions, because come 29, finding out and going to the police, I was met with basically, you don't talk or we kill you. Okay, so one of the things they do is I come out and I take a walk, and then a lot of times I sit in the step to try to relax, get my health back, get stronger. And what they do is a lot of times is someone will pull up over here like this white pickup just did, and they'll sit there with their lights on the whole time, like for an hour or something, right? Now this guy just arrived, so I can't tell you if it's some random guy pulling to the side, but I'll see how long he stays there. It is It's 8:34 right now, and so I'll cut video and we'll see how long he stays there. And if he's, if he's there for like 10, 20, 30 minutes, then he's obviously waiting for me. And what they always do is the longer I'm out here trying to relax, the more people come out attacking with their psychological warfare operations in their you never leave your home and you starve to death and die in your home type of mentality, right? And things like Christina Vescovo, which is a therapist, flat out indirectly basically tried to tell me that people at 29, she knew someone who turned schizophrenic at 29 and she's not allowed to leave her home and things like that. Well, whether you're schizo or paranoid or whatever, you have constitutional rights to do whatever you want. The only reason someone's not allowed to leave their home is because someone doesn't like them and they want to torture and kill them. Or they got arrested for a crime and their punishment was like an ankle bracelet for house arrest, but I'm not under house arrest. And remember, I found out at 29 that these mass groups were doing this with a beyond any level of clean slate and record, showing that this is about hate, rage, and killing someone for what he knows. Shouldn't you be getting rest? Oh, yeah, so how are you feeling? Okay, so now I'm gonna do another walk around the block, which normally shouldn't matter, but because you saw that pickup truck, you saw him pull up, wait for me for about 20 minutes, and then do a U-turn and leave, not getting out, not doing anything. One of their normal repetitive tactics. I'm going to take a walk around the block because what they do is they like to ramp up their attacks as punishment that, hey, this guy left his house and he's not allowed to leave his house. Kind of like the movie Carrie, right? Like the mother that locks the kid in the closet and you're not allowed out of the closet, right? So I'm gonna just take another walk and see if they've ramped up the attacks on the street. One of their scams is for the security to say, well, you have a problem and I'm harassing them because I've walked more than once around a public street, which the Met Complex just happens to be at on public streets. But I can assure you this will happen anywhere in the world with any security company person saying, I've wronged them by taking a simple walk out in public, which the Constitution of the United States says that I'm allowed to do, and the police are obligated to protect me if people hunt me down and kill me. So once again, here's our two black SUV Lexuses. There's usually about 4 of these VW Volkswagens. I can see, let's see. There's usually another blue one. I don't see it. But they usually park them all together. We have this white Integra, and you saw the other Integra there, but they're not together, so it's really hard to prove that one. So let's just... Right now, they haven't really ramped up their attacks as punishment for the... You're only allowed to walk once around the block, which... Trust me, their argument changes from you're not allowed to take walks at all to you're only allowed to take walks once to the guy's crazy and thinks he's a security guard when I'm simply taking a walk out in public, right? As if I don't live here. But what if I didn't live here? Why would I not allowed to be or not be allowed to take walks in public, right? These are public streets. Now, at one point, one of these Met people came out and tried to tell me to go onto the Met property and stand in front of his security camera so that he could test to see if his camera was working as setup operations to set me up with the police. And so that obviously didn't work, and I got him recorded on video, but of course everyone refuses to acknowledge the situation, especially the police. So even if I walk into the police station with a guy trying to set me up for breaking and entering on the Met property, the police will say, well, it's your fault for breathing, right? They'll make up something that doesn't make any sense and turn around. Now, another thing I just noticed, it appears I haven't fully come around the cul-de-sac. Now, notice right now all these cars are parked forward, which for 15 years they do these cryptic things like maybe all forwards and two backwards, or maybe two cars have no plates, or maybe two cars with no plates backwards here and things like that. Today they're all forward, which is rare. And here is where they put gloves to hint about O.J. Simpson working with Victoria Walker or Brian Longbotham, saying that I'm a violent paranoid schizo who thinks that he's like Brian Longbotham, or I think I'm like O.J. Simpson for some reason on some frame jobs. That O.J. Simpson, that I was hired to work at Universal Studios for Wes Craven, and oh, hold on a sec. So I think right here. No, we don't. So okay, first I'm going to say I see two pickup trucks, right? Okay, so right here now, this whole street, like usual, there are just two pickup trucks. And I'm not saying pickup trucks are uncommon, but there are two pickup trucks fairly close to each other, right? So we got this gray one here. And then we got a white one over there. I think I watched pull up as I first started taking my walk, and I'm not sure, but that might have been the guy. No, it wasn't. There was a guy waiting across from the gate, but I think that's a different guy. Okay, so anyways, what I was explaining was that when Brian Longbotham, I knew Brian Longbotham for 15 years. For 15 years, he was playing what they called their spy games on me after hiring me to work on a pilot at Universal Studios called Spy Game. He also hired me to work. So here's the second pickup. So once again, cars and twos, right? Two pickup trucks. Okay, so Brian hires me then to work on a pilot at Universal Studios called Hollyweird, and I'm not going to get into the details. I've gotten into those details in some of my diary entries, the complexities. But while working on Hollyweird and trying to turn me into a violent paranoid schizophrenic with the government, working for Wes Craven, a Wes Craven production called Hollyweird, Brian tells me that Wes Craven wants me to joke with someone and splice in a clip of O.J. Simpson fleeing the scene. Okay, so wait, we have a red and blue Toyota right here. Right? Red and blue. Let's see, what do we got? Red and blue. A blue Corolla. And oh, this is a Yaris. So, that one's hard to prove, and maybe that's nothing, who knows, but they are two Toyotas. Okay, so what Brian did, he wanted me to splice in this O.J. Simpson clip of O.J. in his white Bronco fleeing the scene into this visual effect, saying that Wes Craven, and here's the second, I'll put them both in frame for you. Here's the second black SUV. So the SUVs kind of across from each other, as close as they could get them. And then I think there's even 2 Mercedes. So there's a green Mercedes back there, and here's the gray Mercedes. So, and they might even be the same model. They look fairly similar. And there's a U-Haul here, I think, hinting, you get out of here, we don't want you here, to try to turn me into a schizophrenic. And so, right, you get the idea, alright? So, here's this U-Haul. He's been here for, I think, 3 or 4 days. And, anyways, Brian, anyways, the reason Brian asked me to do that was to frame me and then tell everyone in the adult industry that I was fucking with Wes Craven to keep promoting these, Kevin's doing this and Kevin's doing that, and he's a public nuisance and he's creating chaos. But remember, like I explained in my diary entries, that these types of frame jobs and setups go from one person sequentially to the next, which I trace back to like 7th or 8th grade with Brian Weaver when I was getting in building cars, or in middle school trying to make it look like I bully people, which he was beating up and things like this, right? And so, you get the idea that it just goes from person to person. I'm going to frame Kevin, I'm going to frame Kevin, I'm going to frame Kevin, I'm going to frame Kevin. And when they do these things, the information is disseminated worldwide. Okay, now who has the capabilities to keep spewing out lies about someone all across the entire planet? And the intricate levels of continually violating privacy, like cell phone tapping, GPS tracking, internet hacking, violating my computer privacy for now 30 years or something, since 1994, where worldwide groups have access to everything I do on all my computers, whether they're at home, at coffee shops, you name it, right, shows what's going on in a mass government attack to remove me from society based on labels. Example, that guy's Jewish, that guy's black, whatever, we don't want their kind to exist. In my case, I just heard, we don't want your kind to exist. I don't know what that exactly means, because they're creating just complete fiction after fiction about my life and then riling up the masses to hunt me down and kill me. Basically, for no reason at all other than some kind of label. But if they weren't sabotaging my life would be like everyone else's, if that makes sense. So anyways, this is, I guess, the conclusion of the December 6th, and ironically, that's 26, and one of the things they're angry about is, one of the things I spoke about before on my video diaries is, they're mad at my screen name, Vertigo262, but they keep jumping from thing to thing. For example, every screen name I've ever had is a crime. Every CB name I've ever had is a crime. Every computer name I've had is a crime. Every server we labeled at my company, Signet, is a crime. Every single thing I do is some kind of crime to turn the world against me with these worldwide internet-based propaganda murder systems. And so, right? So ironically, 2.6, I just thought about that. But anyways, so I hope this kind of gives you a detailed overview of what a simple day is for me. And remember that I didn't do much today. I simply went out to the post office, got some food, came home, and took a walk at night. That's all I did, right? My day doesn't isn't like someone who goes to an office from 9 to 5, interacts with huge amounts of people, does tons of things, and the amount of attacks for simply taking a walk and going to the post office is unheard of, and the way they're doing it is unheard of, especially with worldwide support. And I will leave it at that. Okay, so it is now Friday I believe it's the 7th or 8th, and I'm going to take a walk and, like usual, see how many people are parking cars or coming out in such a way to create mental illness, and then trying to cover up that I've somehow done something and I deserve to be hunted and killed by worldwide support. Now the first thing we notice when we come out are 2 white vans. And then, well, they're definitely work related and they all look like the same company. There's a 3rd white van there too. There is nothing here but a black Camry, so there might be another Camry, and a black E-Lance, which I showed you the black and white E-Lances. Usually the E-Lances park together, but right now they're apart, and I showed you the other one yesterday down on the other side of the street. Right here, things look sort of normal, but that'll probably change once they see me come out and commit the crime of taking a walk, according to them. Okay, so here is our E-Lance, or Elantra. Sorry, I called it E-Lance. It's an Elantra. But, or no, this is a Genesis, but actually same body style, just different, I think manufacturer. But before it was a black Elantra. He saw me driving and started like honking and yelling at me, and he got himself on video, so he doesn't pull his car out here anymore. They just work with other groups worldwide to endlessly take turns on me. And now we have the 3rd white van here. Which it's obviously a work car, but it's kind of dual purpose for them, right? Now, remember the pickup trucks and 2s yesterday? Okay, so now by this black Jeep Cherokee, which they usually have tons of Jeep Cherokees following me around and parking here. We have 2. The yellow pickup, which was here yesterday, and then we have this white pickup as well, as close as you can get to the yellow pickup, but also the white Elantra in between them, right? So there's 2 Elantras, there's 2, one's actually a Genesis now, but same body, car body, and then 2 pickup trucks together. Okay. Now we have another black Mercedes, but right now there is only 1 Mercedes. And yesterday there was a different black Mercedes, parking their Mercedes in 2s, but today there's only 1 because the other guy left, but I'm sure he'll be back, which is one of the Met neighbors, so they just conveniently pull out whatever cars they need to make me mentally ill and try to kill me, and then say he's crazy and a violent paranoid schizo and things like this. Now this is the street where they aside from all the car comp patterns, the big one they like to do is the Jeep Cherokee one. There's this white Jeep Cherokee here, and they actually moved the other 2 Jeep Cherokees, which went from person to person's Jeep Cherokee for years. It's been 17, 18 years of this local block alone, but keep in mind, wherever I go worldwide, this is done to me, and they're all interconnected. Now we have a gray Camry or gold Camry, but they're not in groups, so you know, it's hard to really know if that guy is just a random Camry or not, right? But when you see them together, it's obvious, or across from each other and every day. So this is where the dog attacker, some guy that he looks like he was probably like an ex-con or something, and taking some kind of deal with the police to hunt me, to try to thug me quiet. And he attacked me with a police-trained canine, trying to keep me quiet. I have on video endless proof that the police refused to do anything. They refused to arrest him, stop him, you name it. So now we see a white Altima here. While this is just a white Altima, most likely we're probably going to see more Altimas and things like that showing up. Okay, so I'm coming down to Canoga and Burbank. Kind of like Truman, Burbank. I live on Burbank Street, which is a property my father found me with his real estate agent. And without getting into the details of what my father's doing to try to frame me over and over and make me look crazy, this is a location where a guy stands out yelling faggot and things like this at me. Just when I drive by or whatever, in hopes that he can get reactions to use with the police to say this guy's crazy and lashing out at people, and he's full of anger and rage. The same arguments that have gone on from girl to girl my entire life, or people, for example, kissing a black girl at 8 years old at Sunny Skies Day Camp. Somehow means that I'm full of anger and rage because I kissed a black girl, right? Okay, well, it doesn't make any sense. And Corey Bixby at 16 asking me to drive her home, and then getting angry for no reason and telling mass groups to stalk me with the government and my family, which I find out at mid-30s that it's all because I didn't perfectly push on the gas pedal and trolled and harassed her. Now we got this car. It could be a random guy. It is like 6 o'clock, so you know, rush hour. But a guy pulled in the red with his hazards. Is he stalking me or not? Probably not. But you know, but we might see patterns of those, because one of their tactics is for everyone to come out at the same time, sit in their cars with their lights on, like you saw the pickup on the video last night, how he pulled up across from where I was sitting, waited for about 20 minutes with the lights on, and did a U-turn and left. They do that in the same spot. It could be 2 a.m. in the morning with zero traffic, and it'll happen, showing that something's going wrong when maybe the streets are empty at 3 a.m. and all of a sudden groups of people come out doing these things, right? So you get the idea. So here we have our one Jeep Cherokee now, which, by the way, the entire Jeep Cherokee thing, this white Jeep Cherokee right here is very similar to the car that Kelly Hatch drove. A girl told to follow me up from Calabasas High and stalk me at Southern Oregon State College, working with the police like everything else, saying that I'm stalking her, won't leave her alone, followed her up, reversing the story. Now, one thing I sort of just noticed is the black and reds. We had one girl walking down the street. I just handed a card. She wanted one. She's wearing a black and red flannel. We have, looks right here on the corner, some people wearing black and reds, both of them, just like last night. Remember, last night, the two black guys both wearing black pants and red. Right here, it's hard to see because I'm across the street and he's wearing a jacket, but they're both wearing black pants and they're both wearing red shirts. Now, the guy that I think this is the same car that was waiting for me back there with the blinkers on, is now, he's done a U-turn, I think. I wasn't really watching him. And he pulled back over here so I could see him with his blinkers on. He's on the phone, but I'm not exactly sure if it's the same guy because I wasn't really paying attention, and I'll have to kind of look at the video later tonight to double check and see if it's the same guy with the blinkers on 100 yards forward. Once again, we have our outdated or fake police car. He hasn't moved his car, and one of the groups of reds is now gone. Yesterday, we have a car behind this red BMW. It looks like he doesn't have plates. I think this might be a different car from last night. Hey, good, you? Good. Oh, no. Oh, I was giving you a card, but that's okay. Oh, never mind. I was handing you a card, but that's okay. Yeah, have a good night. No, he actually has plates. He just doesn't have a front plate. Okay, so I talked to a girl less than 10 minutes ago wearing the same exact red and black flannel that this girl's wearing. Yeah, it is close to Christmas. I will give you that. But you know, it's still the numbers, the coincidences. Like, for example, this would be, you know, the second girl that is wearing that identical thing that kind of came out at the same time, right? And because it's done every single day of my life in twos like this, you get the idea. Now today, remember there were two pickup trucks here, two white pickups, and they actually moved one of them. He's been there for months, both of these, parking as close as they can. Who knows? Maybe he'll come back. Here is a black Mustang that looks very similar, except mine was a convertible that my father bought me for no reason out of the blue, working on some frame job angle, which they had the police. People working with the police were told to steal the car, bring it down to South Central, and when I got there to pick up the car, it was semi-stripped and they took the wheels. Here is our Thousand Oaks guy, the guy without the plate, which it's been like this for like 6 months, no plate. But anyways, the reason they stole the car is because they didn't like the name of the, hello? Oh, Gert? No. So, the reason they were doing it, they didn't like the name of the wheel. Oh, here he is. He moved down here. So they didn't like the name of the wheels of my car, which were like Villain or Villain or something, trying to make me look crazy, saying, well, because his wheels, the names of his wheels are villain or whatever, that he's a violent paranoid schizo that thinks he's a criminal and needs to be removed from society and things like this, right? And that all started, I think I was trying to figure out what wheels to buy, and I gave an image to, like a mock-up sort of, to see what my car would look like. Well, we do have a white Altima here. He's way the hell away from the other Altima, so it's hard to really link that one. But anyways, her name was, she was some girl in Tennessee. Her name was, she was a weightlifter. I can't remember her name. Oh, good. No. Her name. God, I can't remember. I'm sure it'll come back to me, but it was some bodybuilder in Tennessee, and I was talking to her for like years, and the whole time she was working on these angles. She was trying to get confessions that I hated black people. The same tactic everyone's told to do. I wish I could remember her name. Oh, Melissa Detwiller was her name. So Melissa Detwiller. Now you see this car over here. Like a lot of times, and this is done all over, you'll notice the car's parked normal, it's parked forward. But a lot of times, see, now this is like private property, but it's not. Like, example, if I'm a guest, I'm going to go onto the property, right? I'm going to park on the property. I'm not scaling fences, I'm not breaking and entering, and things like this. And so if you were going to walk up to someone's door, whatever, you'd go on the property, and it's not really a privacy. You're not breaking into someone or violating private property. You're going on the property just like you go onto someone's driveway, and you would knock on the door to see if they're home, right? Now what they try to do is this little like nitpick things that don't matter, which is done to me my entire life. So let's say I walk up to a door and on that property or any other property, and I knock on the door. They'll say that you committed a crime and you went on a private property. And so what they're trying to do is provoke me on to the private property to say he broke into our property, right? And so what they do, and this applies to everything they've ever done to me since 5 years old, is they take the smallest, most insignificant situation that's in the gray, right? Which is how life normally is, and they turn it into a crime, right? You walked on that property, you knocked on someone's door, therefore you committed a crime by going on a private property and trespassing, right? Or one of the things is after introduced to Victoria Walker and Michael Bialis, later on, years later, she married Matt Von Malachy, and my family with the police and government were saying, well, you know, the reason Matt Von Malachy and Victoria Walker are stalking me and trying to lock me away is because I crossed the lines, I blurred the lines, I violated boundary issues because I'm friends with a female that's married. Well, if you were to say how many people do you know that are friends with someone in the opposite sex that are married, that would be 100% of the people out there would say yes, unless they're hermits or something, right? So they're taking perfectly normal situations and turning them into complete fiction, right? And trying to justify it. Now here we have a new white Lexus SUV with no plates. And remember, up the street a little ways, about maybe 70 yards, yesterday I showed you the two black ones. So while he's not paired together with another one, most likely because of the mass groups taking off their plates, that you get the idea, right? Okay, so my point was that their argument is that it's okay for Victoria Walker and Matt Von Malaki to stalk and hunt me because I cross boundary lines with Victoria and her husband, because she's married to Matt, which I knew years before anyways. But to solidify the argument, Victoria Walker was always the aggressor, calling me, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I want to start a business. Can you help me build a website? Showing that she's pursuing me. So when we're talking about blurring the lines and stealing people's husbands and things like that, if the girl keeps calling you, how are you doing anything, right? She's just kind of I'm being a nice friend, saying I've known you for years and you ask me for help and I help you. And that is what friends generally do, right? They don't say, I'm your friend, but you do what we tell you, or we all get together and kill you, right? So, you get the idea that they're setups, right? I mean, who would care? The argument isn't even an arguable argument. Kevin's friends with Victoria, she's married to Matt, and if Victoria doesn't like it, don't keep calling me. If Matt doesn't like it, say, Kevin, I don't like you. But to constantly call me to ask me to come over and then say I'm ruining their lives or something. Oh, scared of you? Oh, no. Is a crime. It's stalking. It is literally, their intent is to have me hunted and killed, attempted murder, and Victoria Walker trying to get confessions, literally moving to a house with the police on Donegal 187 in Newbury Park, I think it is, calling me up 17 years later and starting a whole conversation about how 187 is the penal code for murder, and then we have another Camry, but you know, who knows? Female's car. The point is that, okay, so now we have another white Lexus here, right? Kind of where the two black ones were. So you have a white Lexus here and a white Lexus back there, and while that is a lot harder to link together, it's most likely strategic. We also have another Integra, kind of when they ramped up their Integra attacks the last couple of days. Okay, so after Victoria Walker tried to get these murder confessions from me, and remember, 17 years prior, they had sent Rody Morales, the gym manager, with Mike Huntley after me to take me to strip clubs, and then try to scare me into coerced false confessions that I killed someone is fairly relevant that they're connected, right? Now, I distanced myself from Victoria Walker, and 2 weeks later, the dog attacker, they write 187 on my car. They put gloves on my car to hint that I'm like O.J. Simpson. They paint things all over the car. Faggot, I suck dick, whatever. They glue glitter on my car. You name it. And I take pictures within 10 minutes while calling the police to report it, the car vandalisms, the endless years of car vandalisms. Hold on a second, I'm going to change batteries. Okay, so instantly, Forerunners is one of the tactics, so here's a Forerunner. I don't know if there's going to be any more. So instantly, while calling the cops, someone from my complex sees my camera on the ground walking and steals it because they saw me take pictures of my car to report to the police, right? Now the police refuse to come down because they don't want any report, or they stall, right? Because they don't want any reports made So here we go. We have another white Altima on the other side. While they are far apart, I can guarantee that these are two people that live in the Met here. Told to pull out these cars at the same time. So here we go. We have a second white Altima. Okay, so the police didn't want to come out, right, like usual, because they don't want a paper trail showing that I'm being stalked and hunted. Now, hold that thought, because now, remember you saw this lot yesterday, I'm pretty sure I videoed it, and I talked about trying to get me on properties to set me up or frame me, even if, for example, let's say, here's the line from the public to private street, like, let's say that I'm standing right here, right? Security will come out and they'll start harassing me, trying to provoke and set me up. This is the spot where they put one glove, hinting that I'm like O.J. Simpson. Now notice, the car's parking backwards here. And notice yesterday all the cars were forward. So what changed their human behavior for parking cars forwards and backwards? Because now you have 3 cars forwards or backwards in the lot, but yesterday they were all forward, right? Now, the reason they parked them backwards or have people waiting for me there is to get me onto this property right here, which is not private property. Like if I break in to this fence over here, I'm breaking and entering. If I hop this fence over here, then you could say I'm breaking and entering. But if I'm taking a walk down the street, right, and like for example, right now they would say that I've broken onto their property and I need to be hunted and arrested for my crimes. Now we have a gray VW. Is he just waiting for me? Is he just waiting, picking someone up? It's hard to say. But in my life, most likely he's waiting for me because they always have ulterior motives, right? Now also, remember yesterday I talked about the Volkswagens, the groups of Volkswagens. So yesterday there was only one Volkswagen. Now here's another one. There's a guy waiting in his Volkswagen now with the lights on. And are there any more? Are they random cars? It's hard to say. You know, when they're together, you know, that's a little more covert. When they're together, it's more obvious. For example, when you see the second identical Mini Cooper to this red and white one, you know, what are the chances, right? So anyways, Victoria Walker, within the hour of the police taking their sweet time because they don't want, oh, here we go, here, so there's another one, right? Okay, so yesterday there were no Volkswagens. Now here's a Jetta. There's a white one over there and there was a guy waiting in it. There were the 2 people that parked backwards together on the end of the cul-de-sac, hoping they could get me to like actually break in their property, which they've spent 18 years trying to do that. We have another person that looks like he pulled up kind of waiting for me, although it is 6 p.m. So, you know, that's major rush hour and people coming home. So that's hard to know. But the Volkswagens, the white Volkswagens, the Ultimas, you probably have this guy. Remember, there was a different guy parked backwards here yesterday. Now there's a guy parked here backwards. They like to park them right there in hopes they can like get me to jump the gate or something. And this guy's just sort of sitting in his car. Oh well, and so Victoria Walker, after me calling the police, the guy stealing my camera because they don't want me to call the cops. An hour later, I go out to retake the pictures, and the dog attacker that lives in the Met. So here's the black SUV Lexus from the other day, which there were 2 of. Now they switch to white ones, right? So an hour later, a guy was waiting for me with a police-trained canine, like pit bull, the same type of dog I think that Victoria Walker had, and attacked me with the dog, and the dog was trained to attack on cue, telling me to leave and things like this, like get out of the country. I also have death threats of him saying, you're a snitch, you're dead, not wanting me to tell anyone what's being done to my life, and that applies starting to 5 years old with these worldwide groups, right? That guy directly linked to Victoria Walker while they wrote 187 on my car and all these other things, right? Now the cops intentionally flat out said, even though these dog attacks are on video, they flat out said, Detective Shapiro, Detective Angela Stewart, flat out said that I was never attacked by a dog. It never happened. I'm delusional, but yet I sent them the video recordings of the dog attacking me, him threatening my life while attacking me with a dog, hospital reports with photos of me in the hospital, and the detectives out here at Topanga Division, which I can assure you will happen anywhere in the world, flat out said nothing happened and I'm imagining it, I'm a violent paranoid schizo. Right? Okay, so what does that mean? It means, for like the same reasons I can't get an officer to come out here and document the what they're doing to me with the cars, a simple 10-minute walk or drive down the street, acknowledging it means that they want me dead and gone, and they'll do anything because of what I know. Sorry, this is my car, one of my cars, and it looks like some liquid was thrown on it, but I can't tell. It has been raining, but that doesn't look like rainwater. It looks really thick, right? And it's thick and it's sticky, so it's probably like Coca-Cola or something. And a lot of time, like for years, they walk by, they spit on my car. They have slashed the tops, they've slashed the tires about 4 times, and every single time the police go, I don't see anything, you're imagining it, right? So why are the police doing that? You turn 29 and you notice that these people are doing these things to you your whole life, and why wouldn't the police say that mass groups getting together, hunt down, kill Kevin Pearlman is wrong, right? That's the question of all questions, and it's pretty much based on what I know, and them knowing I'll talk, and then incriminating corrupt police officers and people working with them like Mike Huntley, Rody Morales, Officer Sean Dinsey, Detective Angela Stewart, Detective Shapiro, that link all the way back to early childhood on illegal operations to remove me from society no matter what it takes and for no reason at all, which there really couldn't be a reason, because the Constitution of the United States flat out says that we are all free people and have the right to do whatever we want, which in the guidelines of being legal, and we are protected by the Constitution of the United States, and the police are supposedly here for us, to keep us safe so that we can do these things within capitalism and the Constitution. But yet when it comes to Kevin Pearlman, it's more of a communist, socialist, you do what we say or we'll kill you, and here's a little money to eat in between that, and don't create art, don't date women, don't be social with people, don't have friends, don't go to coffee shops, don't play pool, don't go to the gym, and then to cover up your violent paranoid schizo so you're not allowed to leave your house or even order food, so that you can stay breathing, means that they just want me dead and gone for what I know. Okay, so today, I just want to clarify this for everyone. Today, walking down the street, compared to yesterday, you'll notice that
the obviousness is a lot less. For example, yesterday there was a higher rate of identical cars, one in front of the other or across from each other in twos. Today they are spread out more, so that it kind of looks like you got paranoid and you now suffer from traumatic events or post-traumatic stress. But that's not what's going on. What they're doing is they're toning down their subliminal hinting messages to try to make me look crazy, or make it look like now if I react, it's less justified, even though they really haven't got any good reactions in the last 46 years, even though I've been met with 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day on average, at least for the 18 years since I found out, and it's really been going on, escalating since 5 years old. We also have a dog walker here in the gray and black tactic, gray pants, or black pants, gray shirts, and if it's just one of them, it could be a random event, but if it's mass groups, then it's obviously directed for me, which they have convicted me of falsified charges because they're trying to get rid of me. He's in the green Miata. They're trying to get rid of me no matter what it takes. And when I say get rid of me, I mean kill, end my life. And so he kept threatening me and extorting me and running up to me how this is his property, I have to do what he says. He told me that my place is his place. He'd tell me to not pass out cards to people, or they were going to raise my homeowner's fees, or he wanted money, things like this, trying to get that reaction. If you said anything in your defense, like, I'm going to call my lawyer or whatever, he would jump back and say, leave me alone, you're stalking me, this and that, right? Well, it turns out that he was contacted by Officer Sean Dinsey off of his website to work on me with the setups, and it just goes from person to person my entire life, to remove me from society, and with every person with some kind of new angle. Anyways, I'm going to stop this for now, but I'll probably end up turning it on. I'm going to kind of try to chill here, which they say is a crime, to just try to relax and sit on the steps here, or anywhere else in the world. Like the park got so bad that people working with Fox News and Greg Gutfeld came out with like 14 helicopters and a ground crew trying to thug intimidate me, and years of severe abuse with Fox News channel psychological warfare tactics for the crime of going to a park and just wanting to sit on a bench for a short while or try to relax or whatever, which is unheard of. No one would care. So what? Some guy goes to a park and sits on a bench. Who cares, right? Well, they care. They care that I'm breathing. And so the result is usually mass armies coming out, attacking me in anger and rage, saying we're going to kill you for the crime of being born. And anyways, I'll leave it here until mass groups start coming out saying you've exceeded your 10 minutes of sitting on a step, and you'll get the idea, right? That these are just mass attacks. The people in the psychology community and police threw some label on me and decided they were going to hunt me and kill me with worldwide support, and that's pretty much sums up what is going on. But for now, I'll leave it at that. And until more people show up, and they probably will, then I'll video that. Okay, so I'm now sitting here, and you'll notice that where the white pickup was yesterday, of someone kind of waiting for 20 minutes with his lights on, a car has just pulled up here waiting with their lights on. Now the question is it someone randomly waiting in a weird looks like it might even be a bus stop, but spot like that, just sitting and waiting in his car, or is this the same tactic which was done to me yesterday by the white pickup, right? So you'll notice, like I said yesterday, they keep pulling there over and over, directed at me to passive aggressively try to figure out ways with this mass group to provoke me. So what I'm going to do is I'll just try to find a spot I can set the camera that we can see how long he's waiting for me, right? If he's waiting for me, and he probably is, because they do it over and over. Okay, so you'll notice that he pulled on the side, he waited for about 15 minutes or something, and then he left. Nobody came out of any houses, nobody went into the car. I'm not going to tell you that people don't sometimes pull to the side of the road and check their phone or make a call. Could definitely have very well been that, but because they do this all day and night, year and year, especially at that corner when I come out here to sit, you know, repetition, right? If you see 100,000 people run up and run at you with machetes to chop off your arm, you're pretty much going to assume that 1,001 or 101 are going to do the same thing, right? Now remember, some nights have like 10 people right at this block sitting and waiting in cars with their lights on, and some of them get more aggressive, like they may put their foot out the window one sequentially after the next, hinting something about me, hinting about my foot or this or that, to try to provoke me into situations. Now the other thing you need to understand is, which I sort of mentioned before, is that while they've toned down their attacks tonight and spread out the cars, the reason is they want to make it look like I suffer from childhood trauma and can't get over things, or post-traumatic stress syndrome, working with the psychology community to try to make me look crazy and figure out ways to try to remove me from society no matter what it takes. Hence why today they're less aggressive, but what they usually do is they fluctuate. They get less aggressive and then they fail, and then they ramp up their attack. So even if I were to say I don't feel like coming out of my house for like a month and get healthier, by the time I come out of my house, they'll ramp up the attacks, going, well, he's healthy again, and that's unacceptable, so we're going to attack him with larger and larger groups the healthier he is. And that equation, so to speak, has been done to me since 5 years old, even though I found out at 29. The more I'm out living my life, thriving, doing things, the more aggressive their attacks, saying I'm crazy and a stalker and doing all these horrible things because they have a problem with me breathing and existing. And so there are some serious questions that need to be asked to the why is that happening? Well, it turns out the older I get, the more I found out, the more I talked, or the more they thought I was talking about my life and personal aspects of my life that they didn't want me talking about. I was met with larger and larger groups, even college professors, high school teachers, people in the police, you name it, not wanting me to talk. Hence, trying to silence me and suppress me by either killing me, torturing me to death, getting me to starve in the streets, or maybe even starve in my own home, trying to make me look agoraphobic or something like this, right? So that's a quick summary without the whys, but so you understand what their behavior is and why these attacks are still going on 40 years later. Anyways, until the next people come out. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes, and I'll just explain some of the things that happened right on this corner, although it's a worldwide thing, but it'll give you an idea. So normally, these people here come out, and this Persian guy here comes out, and when I take walks, every single time, unless it's really late at night, they come out of their house, just sitting there watching me and work with these mass groups in hopes that they can provoke me into reactions, and I witness this, right? Now, a lot of times right here, this is my car, but right here they park cars in twos and get aggressive where I sit, or leave things which they can leave little hidden messages on these steps or by me, or try to frame me or make it look like I'm doing something wrong to make the community go nuts to cover up their crimes of their racial bigoted stalking from the first minute I moved in, and had been going on from place to place since 5 years old. That's one thing. Another thing that happens, at least it happened for over and over for about a year, was the fire station is right down on the other side of Canoga there. And every night I came out, if it was 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 p.m., every single time they would drive by and turn on their sirens. So they were alerted. Kevin came out of his house and drive by and turn on your sirens to try to provoke me. And that they were mad at me because I was videoing them at like a fire or something at someone's house, which normally the fire department couldn't care about, because people pull out their cell phones every time there's some kind of accident or fire or something, right? So why were they mad at me? And at the same time, I got death threats from the police. We're watching you, Perlman, when they saw that I was videoing it, as they walked in front of my camera first, before, like after I was videoing, and then threatened me, trying to make it look like I was somehow doing something to them, right? So why was that happening? Now, first of all, I'm going to take another walk down this street because it's been 30 minutes and I want to see the rate of change, because normally, like that corner where I sit, as well as everywhere else, but normally, in an hour period, I might see 10 to 100 people come out of their houses provoking me with these psychological warfare tactics. You'll notice today, nobody really came down, which is good. I mean, I'm happy about that, because I want to be able to live my life without these psychopaths hunting me for the last 40 years. But normally what happens is, let's say I go out and I sit on that step for an hour or 30 minutes, you would see mass cars pulling up here on the streets, and they would be parking in their twos. And if I walk down the street again, they would say he's crazy because he walked down the street more than once, right? Just working every angle and tactic. Now, right now I'm looking, and the first thing I see, they don't look like they're ramping up their attacks right now, but the first thing I see is a black Prius right here, and then up here they parked a white Prius, I think. So remember the Lexuses, the two black Lexus SUVs. First there were two blacks, and now there's a white one and a white one way down there without plates, which are probably connected. So now I think, so now we have also a more spread out white Prius, and we have a black Prius, and remember, there's probably just two of them, right? Showing most likely it's part of their twos tactic, cars and twos tactic. Now, why are they more spread today? Well, you know, there's a lot of things going on, like, and just note the gray Mercedes, because there might be another one. But why are they spread? Because one is, if it's a crowded street, it's hard to get the car as close as you can to the other. But now, today looks like they're spread more to try to make it look like I
suffer from trauma or post-traumatic stress system or post-traumatic stress, some kind of label that the psychology community can use to try to lock me away or rid me of the world and cover up what they've done to the last 40 years of my life. Right now, I'm not seeing a ramp up of cars. Also, one thing you should know is usually when I take walks, security comes out harassing me, trying to set me up. And you might ask yourself, well, why would security care that some random guy's walking down the sidewalk, right? Whether he lives here or not, everyone comes out and they take walks, right? So why is it okay for everyone to take walks but Kevin Perlman, right? And this started at 29 when I would go out at night and take walks because I was getting a little anxiety finding out what Mike Huntley was doing. And well, I couldn't figure out what was going on. There were some thoughts going through my mind. They didn't want me taking walks, but who cares whether someone's taking walks? Okay, so now, right, we have I showed you this before. We have two white Volkswagens, right? We have the white Volkswagen up there. We do have two blue cars together, but that's not enough. And then we have the second one, and we have the guy waiting with his lights on in the Volkswagen, which is now gone. You get the idea. Why would you care whether someone's taking a walk because they're healthy or not healthy, and then follow them around and say we're going to remove you from society? Doesn't make any sense to begin with. Ooh. Hello. How are you? So you get the idea that the problem, right in there, once again, you see there's a car, a BMW backwards right in the corner here. Why? Because they want to try to figure out ways to get me to hop the fence and gate. And usually people coming out a lot more aggressive because they want to set me up, right? They want to provoke me in anger, get reactions, and go, look what Kevin did. We need to remove him from society. We also have this guy who worked with a girl with an identical car, following me to the supermarket by the Ralphs, making up lies that I'm following her and perving on her and taking pictures of her. The other guy seemed to move his car that parked backwards, showing these mass groups all working together. Now, if you were to say right now I'm perving on a girl by documenting what's going on this street, then you're obviously involved in a crime, and in this case the crime is called attempted murder, hence why they're exerting so much energy and effort to trying to silence me in such ways that looks like I just couldn't take life anymore and blew my brains out, right? Okay, so right now this street is a lot more mellow than yesterday. It's a lot less aggressive. We still have two Priuses and two Volkswagens. One's a Jetta, one, I don't know what this thing is, but here's one, a Volkswagen like Golf, and I think the other one's a Jetta. Two white Volkswagens and a black and white Prius. A white Lexus with the black. Oh, here's the other Lexus. Now, I will admit this is a common car, but the reason there's so many at the same time, for example, the patterns fluctuate at the same time, if that makes sense. For example, I might go out, maybe I'm at a restaurant and I flirt with a girl, or maybe, whatever, I flirt with a girl somewhere. Oh, cards for you guys? So let's say I flirt with a girl somewhere. The next day I might walk out of my house and there might be 10 white pickups, right? And let's say they're spread on this short street. Okay, here's the other one. So here's the second white Volkswagen. This one's a Jetta. So now, the next day I walk out on my street, and this girl could be in Vegas, this girl could be in Florida, it could be in Encino. They instantly know everything that's going on through NSA stalking operations, using their resources to hunt me and kill me. And so if I talk to a girl in Vegas and drive home that night and ask her for her phone number and then drive home that night, the next day I'll come out of my house and there'll be like 10 white pickup trucks on the short street. And of course, the month before I didn't see one pickup truck, right? So the rate of change is all at the same time. Now right here, it looks like we have, do we? No, we don't. So here is our black Prius. This is our black Prius. Now notice how the street is completely spread now. I don't see any cars one in front of the other. Now I have years and years all day and night of cars and twos one in front of the other. Okay, so here's our black Prius, right? This looks like this is the white, switching from black and white Lexuses. Maybe could be wrong on that one. And then our white one over here, where this person's about to pull into the garage. And some kind of Toyota. So my point is that today everything looks more normal, but there's still subliminally them parking cars in twos spread apart. This is a Camry, but they're still doing it on a subtle level, and like I said, they'll probably ramp up their attacks after this because they're like usual aren't getting a reaction. But this is the second Prius right here, right? So two Priuses on the street. Two Priuses. I just walked by. Was that a black Camry? And this is nothing. That's a Fusion. Anyways, you get the idea. Now, some of their claims are, they want a nice community and they want a nice, peaceful community and their property values, right? That's the latest argument I've heard in the area. But the reality of the situation is, if you want nice property values, you don't launch angry mobs to hunt down and kill someone, especially with worldwide support, and then expect people to want to live in some kind of war zone against one guy with worldwide support with endless NSA, FBI resources, right? So their decisions, they're causing their own problems, if that makes sense. They claim they want a nice neighborhood, but yet they're running around stirring up havoc and chaos, and then they're pinning it on the quiet, shy guy or whatever, the guy that doesn't have a lot of friends, saying that it's my fault. Now, why are they strategically going after me, right? Isn't that the question? Because if you want a peaceful community, why would you all get together and hunt down and kill someone? It means that you don't want a nice, peaceful community. You want your war zone, but don't pin it on the guy who's just trying to step out of his house and take a simple walk or go out and get food or meet people, make friends, play some pool, meet women, even if which some people don't approve of, go out to a strip club or something stupid like that nobody could care about unless you're like top CEO of Bank of America, or maybe Mark Zuckerberg. Nobody's gonna care less unless they just want you dead. Now, generally, most of the time when psychotics want you dead, it's not because you did anything wrong. Because if you don't like someone, you stay away from them. And that's my point, is with people like Victoria Walker, who were using so much resource on me to get these murder confessions, which I don't even know where it comes from, other than I just don't like you and we're going to exterminate you, right? And so, you get the idea. Now remember, Victoria Walker introduced me around 25 or whatever, links back to all sorts of childhood events that, crimes she's involved in, and she doesn't want me talking because it will incriminate the people in those crimes. Oh, card view? Oh, no. So the reason she came back after 17 years was to try to finish the job with the LAPD and cover up their mass crime spree, which links and opens up all sorts of doors into unfathomable things done to me, which they don't want coming to light. And I talk about some of those in my other segments. But, so you get the idea. So I'm almost back at my place, and, so, I'll end it here.